All right, y'all. The reason I'm excited to hear these guys talk is because they are ahead of the market. They're pioneering. They always are pioneering. They're ahead. Where are we going? Where's the market going? What do they want next, right? How do we do that? It's not just better, 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 better. They kill it. So I am so excited for this game, right? And they are constantly with finesse. This starts as a yellow to red flag because you're going to see sandbox difficulty, but they address it. They address it at the end, so they have the best of both worlds.
Doom, the woke ages. I've heard about this. I've
The
seen
woke
the video.
ages.
Well, here's the thing about this. First of all, I don't agree with that. And really, when you think about options like the sliders, the policy was it has to be good both for the white belts and the black belts. You know, if we're going to allow you to slow the game down, we have to enable you to speed the game up. And that was a really good policy for everything. So everything in the game, you can either make things super hard or super easy, you know, or just find that sweet spot somewhere in the middle. What we see with the sliders from our best players in the office.
Notice here, find, right? You have the accountability. Don't blame us. You just make it up, right? A lot of devs stop right there. Red flag, right? This is the modern market. You just make up a difficulty. We don't have to take accountability for that.
Is that they do a lot of surprising things. You would think it's just crank everything up, but that's actually not the case. Like one of our players, Mikey and Travis, they like to slow down the projectiles, but then make them lethal. It really enhances that three-dimensional shmup, you know, that bullet hell experience. That is kind of what classic Doom is. Classic Doom is a three-dimensional bullet hell, you know, weaving between these slow-moving projectiles that hit really hard. And that's what creates the maze, and that's what promotes, encourages the player to move.
Can we talk about for a second? Again, I tell you guys all the time, if you're a developer, don't talk about your own work. 80-90% of the time, it's bad. I don't know why. It's a weird thing where it's really awkward. I think it's probably goes with like you trying to sell yourself and you feel awkward, and it usually is really awkward. These are one of the few people I ever seen. This guy seems like he's talking like me. Like we're kind of just not being a businessman. We're kind of just chatting. That's how it feels. W Man's here.
Encourages the player to move is really the projectiles, and that's what we focused on, you know, for this game. So being able to adjust those things doesn't make the game, you know, super easy. It actually, I mean, it can make it super easy. I love it. It can make it like super hard. It's like messing with an equalizer on a radio, you know what I mean? You just find what suits you best. And it adds, honestly, a lot of replayability to the game because when you play it, each difficulty, like normal to ultraviolence and all that stuff, these sliders will be preset. And every time you go to the sliders, you'll see what ultraviolence is because you'll see how the sliders change. So you could play through it like that. Somebody asked, oh, well, we wouldn't take the time to balance the game well and we're going to leave it to the player. No, we're not going to leave anything to the player. We're going to make sure that it feels good because most people won't actually go. I mean, how many of us just don't bother with the menus and play the game the way it is, you know? I do that sometimes. So we'll make sure that it feels really good on ultraviolence, normal, nightmare, all that stuff. And then we'll expose those sliders to you so you can make it the way you want, which is really cool. So no, the game is not easy. Don't say that.
What? Can we just talk about his expertise here? Can we just talk about his execution? Can we talk about addressing the fans, being inclusive while doing the right thing and correcting them? This is what it looks like to be ahead of the market. You could be the person that people are learning from, or you could be the person that waits a couple of years and then copies a game from behind you, right? This is what it looks like. If you're waiting for your predecessors to make that game, oh, I want to be like the Spire now, and I want to be like this, you are always behind because you're not locked in to how the market is moving. We have these conversations every day, and you can see it show up with all these new releases, all the things we talk about. You see it. So you know it's not crazy. First we'll talk about this, and we'll talk about how the modern people don't understand, right? Why our crowds right now do not understand. First of all, we talk about this all the time for years. Again, this new culture of this sandbox difficulty. We'll add a heat system. We'll do all of this stuff. Let's just put it on the player. We don't have to take accountability for that. We'll just give you tools. Now, remember, all these poor designs starts as a good design. So I get why they do it. It doesn't mean it's bad. It always starts good. Edmund McMillan decided to not put artifact stuff because of a early good design, not seeing the bad past that door. It starts good. The sandbox difficulty thing was started as good. It's to do something good. It just comes with also negative, right? So what happens is we don't have to take accountability. Oh, if something's imbalanced or there's no proper hard mode or things don't add up as a hard game very well, hey, that's your fault, right? We gave you the sliders. You figure it out, right? It's a lack of accountability. I'm buying your product so you can give me the experience, right? You give me the challenge to rise to. Now, this doesn't affect some people. They'll jump on easy mode. Well, they're expecting a catered easy mode for them as well, right? They want that experience from you. You're making it and I'm buying your product, right? I'm not here to make it. This is not RPG Maker, right? So the idea is a lot of people just throw in these sliders and call it a day, right? That's the modern market. So notice how it started with a worry and they were addressing these people saying the sliders are not so bad. This is why we have them. It's actually really cool. W. But then notice what he speaks to next and notice that they did get backlash on the other side that we talk about where the people say, I want your challenge, right? And he talks to that.
Somebody asked, oh, well, we wouldn't take the time to balance the game well and we're going to leave it to the player. No, we're not going to leave any.
You can see here that the community will ask for the things we talk about because that's what the game doctor work is about. The work is there to prepare you for what your consumers need. While you're making the game, you're in a very personable bubble and you think you're making it for yourself. You forget that you're not. We try to convince each other that we're not. But eventually it will get bigger and bigger and then you're worried and making it for the customer, the consumer. Right? And if they're telling you, hey, we don't eat gluten, you better prepare that dish so that it doesn't have gluten. You need to listen to their needs and wants. This is how we launch these games and they fall into mixed. It's usually not a surprise. It's usually because the customers have been telling them for years, gaming industry, that we don't like certain things. We don't like durability for no reason, right? There is things we don't like. We need to be able to look in our deck when we're playing a deck builder. So what do? We make these games and we jump into the hole that the gamers have complained about before, and then they complain again, and we act like, oh, don't worry, we're listening. We're going to fix it. If you were listening, you wouldn't have done it. Hyper Light Breaker, Killing Floor 3. If you were listening, like you said you were, don't worry, we hear you, community, and you try to get a green flag, you try to win over the community, if you were, you wouldn't have done it. That being said, these guys have thought about that, and we're already ahead, right? These guys are pioneers. They know, and they take responsibility and can speak to both parties. We got you white belts, as they said, and we got you black belts. Oh, we're just going to leave it to the gamer and we're not going to make a proper difficulty? No, of course not. We're going to go through and make an awesome set of difficulties and your consumers don't understand they don't understand good design. If you add WASD to action RPGs, no, don't do it. You're going to change the game I love. They don't understand and that's not their job. That's your job to know better. That's your job to know better. So let this sink in. Why are these guys pioneers? You can see it in everything they talk about.
Leave it to the player. No, we're not going to leave anything to the player. We're going to make sure that it feels good because most people won't actually go. I mean, how many of us just don't bother with the menus and play the game the way it is, you know?
I also want to challenge you guys to look here. Of teams that don't know what they're doing and don't take accountability, you'll notice a common trick on today's market where they put it on you. Notice how that once did they say that we're going to leave it to the community. They said, we're going to do this. We're going to do this. They're going to do their job.
Somebody asked, oh, well, we wouldn't take the time to balance the game well and we're going to leave it to the player. No, we're not going to leave anything to the player. We're going to make sure.
We're not going to leave anything to the player. That is a direct opposite of everything that you hear on the market today. We're not leaving anything to the player. We're making the product. You guys are being fed bad products and then they cover it up with duct tape. Look at Hyper Light Breaker. Look at all these games that drop at Mix and they say, what do they do? They patronize you. Oh, we're listening to community feedback. And then PC Gamer comes in. Yeah, look at these guys. W. They listen to community feedback. we celebrate this. If they were listening to you, they would have known your needs, the customer's needs, before they delivered. This is why we need to get smarter. They need to get smarter and realize their wrongs. But we need to get smarter because they will have to stop doing it. And so notice, these guys are always pioneering. Every video we watch of them, you can see that they're not following these trends. They can already speak to sliders, white belt, as they call it. The people that want easy, we got you. The people that want hard, we understand you too. Don't worry, we're not just making a sandbox. We got you. He said we're not leaving nothing to you guys. He addresses them directly, not with this magic, right? Directly. I want you guys to notice that, because every other game today and all these teams, they will take away a responsibility. We're going to see what you guys think. I'm just giving you guys the signs to see. So these guys are W's every time I see it, and they're always ahead of the market. They are so smart. Our last analytical video showing you the last thing they did on talking about Dark Ages and how it's actually impossible to one up, right? And they realize that, and they're changing the whole structure of their game and showing different instead of one up. So freaking smart, bro. Always ahead, always ahead. Anyway, that's my TED Talk for today. I hope you guys found that interesting.